Good morning, Boomer. Today's video is one I was talking to a guy last night about the channel and about the topics. And I thought, I told him about the previous video I made about, you know, investing. Would I have started a business again? And I would say no. And I thought I think there is a need for clarification. And I've thought about as soon as you post a video, especially being a new YouTuber, how many of y'all relate? You go back and you think, oh, I should have said it this way, or oh, I should have said this, or oh, I forgot to say that. So that's what I was thinking, particularly with this past video. And I'd like to address that today because I think there's even I guess I will make my point clear today and also with some constructive criticism from people that I think have a legitimate point. What I want to make clear is with the looking back, it was for fun. It was entertaining. Again, it was, a morning coffee moment. I'm going to blame it on that. Remember, I come up with some weird stuff when I'm drinking coffee in the morning. And that particular morning, I thought about you know, that business I had, the money I put into it back in 1997. And I thought, what if I had bought a stock back then? And then it was like makeup. It was like, I played with the thoughts of, oh, what about Amazon? It happened to be the same year as it turned out. And wow, what a missed opportunity. But hindsight, as I mentioned in that real quick, is 2020. And, as I quickly mentioned, would I have done it? No. Uh, Now, another thought I had, I blame it on the coffee. It's a good thing I don't drink alcohol in the morning. Is what if I knew Jeff Bezos? What if we were buddies? Would he persuaded me? Probably so. If I thought he was a good guy and a smart guy, why not put some money? Now, the next question is, would I hold on to it? That's a whole nother thing. And the fact is, my history proves I wouldn't have because I have made investments and I have invested in stocks, in 401ks, in what do they call those? EFTs. And almost without exception, I chose, feeling I had to get into those investments over the years because of life. And when you're making that teacher salary, particularly in the state I was in, it wasn't a lot of money. As I said, most of my friends were making two, three times, and good for them. And I don't feel bad about that because I was doing something I really had a passion to do, and I was connecting with kids that are now friends, many of which are friends today in their 50s, and they remember my class, at least them, fondly, and they all have great stories about it. I'll digress a little bit here. Back in that period of time, Netflix was kind of one of those deals. There was Blockbuster, and then there was this new company, Netflix. And Netflix, Blockbuster was really irritating people, and they not only had a corner on the market, they had the market. And going to the Blockbuster was always a great experience where you would go down and look at the new recommendations by the staff. You'd look at all the top sellers and you'd pick a movie or two or three. They made it very easy. And you like rented the videotapes back when I started and take it home and put it in your VCR and watch the movie and then take it back. And then, if you were late on the return, you started getting fines, whatever they called them. And, those were, there's some good stories about those, but, that left a sour taste in people's mouths, these fines. And pretty soon the fines would add up to more than what you could buy the movie for. So wasn't that something? So you keep the movie, pay the fine or not pay the fine. Now, I don't remember anyone getting prosecuted for not paying their Blockbuster fines. But there comes this new company, Netflix. And at first I was really uncomfortable with their business plan because they would mail you the little CDs or floppy, whatever they were. And I was kind of uncomfortable about that, never trusted it. But, you change, just like I thought you'd never have a newspaper. You'd never quit reading a newspaper. Well, so we started ordering from Netflix, and the rates were great. And there was never any late fees, not fines, fees, no late fees. That was a big thing. So they started to get an impact and started to become very popular. And I decided I read a report about the potential of Netflix, you know, being a great investment. And so I did. And I remember and by the way, this is not financial advice. I think you have to say that. But I bought Netflix with just a few $100s. I never had a lot, it's always limited my risk. I bought Netflix. If I remember right, it was around the 12 or 13 dollar point. I think I also bought in about $18. But there was this feeling of Blockbuster was going to crush them. Well, I don't know. I worried about that. I thought, could this little kind of startup beat Blockbuster, the behemoth in the marketplace? And we know the story. They did. That stock did take off. Netflix did make the right moves, some great business decisions. It went to, I remember it going to 100 and starting to drop back down. Or at first it went to 60 something. I sold. I thought, I won't get greedy. I'll take a little bit of profits on this from my initial number of shares. And then it went to over 100. And I thought, wow, I was doing, I'd made a number of thousands of dollars there in my little investment. And then it started to drop. So then after it got hit 80, I started to get a little worried. And then it hit 70, then 60. And then I sold out. I sold out somewhere between 40 and 60 on two different sales and sold all of it. And it ended up dropping not only to my original purchase point of 18 or 13, but all the way down to like 10 or 12. And I thought, whew, I'm a Buffett. I'm a Buffett. I'm a young Buffett. I was making the right decisions. Although it wasn't, because Buffett would never sell. He would hold. I should have held. I think the stock today, I'll put in what the current price today is, but it has split. I think it's over $400 a share, strong, and it defeated the big guy, Blockbuster. They went bankrupt. They went out of business because streaming came and got good. And now no one thinks twice about watching Netflix or paying a subscription service. That monthly subscription is nothing. Nor have I now become comfortable with paying one-time fees to watch on demand. $2, $3, $4 for high definition. Uh, I mean, I don't even blink at that now. So the model became very well accepted. I don't think you can see the co-host here, just making sure I do a better job at describing things. No one second guesses now Netflix. It's a major. It's now the market monster, and there are challenges to them now. But I digress. Suffice it to say, I wasn't able to hold on to the stocks and long term, and I wish I had now. That's 2020. But back to business, starting a business or investing, particularly now being in my 60s. Starting a business is starting the kinds of businesses that I once started and had, from a painting business, house painting business, commercial, a restaurant, went into business, started a restaurant from the ground up in terms of an existing building. Quite the story on that. My point I want to make is, at 60 some years of age, won't be starting the businesses that I attempt, the types of businesses. So the guy I was talking to last night brought up the point. Yeah, so it's ironic you say you would invest and not start a business, and yet you've started a YouTube channel, which, yeah, for creativity, for legacy. But I will admit there is a business aspect of this turning into, and I look forward to developing that and seeing that come, and encourage others, especially if you're 50, 60 plus, looking into getting your own channel for that, your own community, your own audience, because there is an audience out there for everything. And it's the audience that I'm connecting with, for the most part, that excites me about doing YouTube. They've all warned us about, as we grow, the trolls and stuff. And I've had one, I think, maybe two, and you just ignore it. A comment, though, I got this morning was legitimately critical. This viewer's name is David. David, I want to tell you, you're not getting blasted here. Super appreciate this comment, because it was on the top of mind when I was thinking I need to talk more and a bit more explanation of what I didn't do very well in the previous video about, my biggest investment mistake. And it was, nonetheless, as I said, you make a good point. David wrote, uh, this is such a dumb view, D-U-M-B capitalized. I like that, of quote, what I should have done instead. What if you would have invested into one of the few hundred other IPOs that came out that year? Point taken. And went nowhere, or worse, tanked, broke. That's true. What in earth makes you think that at that time when you started your business for 35K that you would have known that Amazon would have been the right IPO to throw your money into, for example? And that's crazy. And as I mentioned, David, understand, as I look, it was a fun exercise and morning thought from coffee. I'm blaming the coffee, David. I got to buy better coffee. Um, but yeah, it's ridiculous. Would I have done it? No, unless maybe I was personal friends of Jeff Bezos, and I would not throw all the money I had at that time into any IPO, even Amazon. But I would have, using hindsight, which I didn't have. All right. Um, for example, Amazon was losing money for about a decade. Only people with the ability to lose their entire investment would have invested in Amazon. Absolutely true. Very good point. And then he says, so do it. So here, do it again. Find a random IPO today and toss 80% of your life savings. Let it ride. Good luck. Yeah, that's a good point. No, we shouldn't do that. I hope there are no boomers out there that are going to even think about doing that. But here's what I am thinking about doing is, in the past, how you'd hear about grandparents or friends or parents buying to teach the stocks and the importance of compounding, which again, we as boomers no longer have the power of compounding 20, 30 years, which is where the power of wealth lies. Um, but they'd buy them a stock in a particular company. Back in the day, it might have been like IBM or uh, Coke, Ford. They'd get them one share of stock, just to show them that as they grew, what that could they could watch it and grow and become more valuable. Well, believe it or not, what I'd like to do is buy my grandkids a stock or two, put $100 on it, put $1,000 into it, but buy that much stock in that particular company. And I'm not talking about an IPO. I'm talking about a really solid company that is, at least at this day, believed has a very strong future ahead of it. And then hopefully that ability for it to compound will provide them something and a memory from me, as well as a lesson, the importance of investing long term. Now, it could go broke, fine. It will be monitored. We'll put some kind of thing in place where if it looks like things are going south, it could be sold. But hey, wouldn't that be cool to buy? It won't be an IPO, but to buy something, put $1,000 into a company or two, whatever, and two or three companies, and then see what happens. It will be an experiment that 10, 20, 30 years from now might pay off, and probably most certainly has better odds than buying lotto tickets. So just before recording this video, I went back to bring up that comment so I could use it. And again, Dave, thanks for doing this. Thanks for watching, because my comment back was, I thought, oh, come on, I wasn't trying to be. I mean, a lot of what I do is for, cheap entertainment. The emphasis on cheap, CHEAP, capitalized for sure. And I said, hey, apparently you missed my point. Not he made a good point though. What I would have done, stupid. Why even think about it? Because in a way it's fun, and again it was the coffee. But apparently you missed my point, or you didn't watch the whole video, because I did. And what I realized is my little comments about what I've done, no, hindsight is 2020. It wasn't really clear. I did come across as if this was, and I started the video with that thought that this was the biggest mistake investment wise in my life. And it was it something I could have seen? Not really to the extent. That's kind of why I said, would I have invested 35,000? No. Would I have invested 100 or 1,000? Yeah, if I'd done my research, I might have. Although even then, as you mentioned, David, Amazon, I mean, a guy working from, selling books. Hey, back then I still loved bookstores. I still believed in bookstores and I still enjoyed the bookstores. And I was trying to think of the first time I ever ordered on Amazon a book, and I felt a little guilty doing it, as a matter of fact, because I wasn't supporting the local owners of the bookstores. But I did, and of course, they ended up getting crushed, and most of all of them that I had or knew are now out of business. Just before, again, I started this video, I found I went to get David's comment to read, and he responded to, I can imagine a guy like this, a nice sitting around, he'd be one of my friends, and he sounds like he could be one of my friends. He'd say, Phil, they would tell me, Phil, that's the stupidest idea you ever had, or come on, get real. And that's how I take this in that spirit of, hey, let's get real. And I think that's a legitimate critic. I don't want to use the word criticism. This is a conversation, the give and take. I like it. When I made a comment about how it made, or maybe you didn't watch the whole video, he replied, he says, I wouldn't have gotten to your Amazon comparison if I hadn't watched the whole video. And when I was making that, I thought, well, you know what? How far into the video did I even discuss that? Remember, David, I don't know how old you are, but remember, I'm 66 years old. Even I did record, I recorded this 2, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. Give me a break. My memory is failing. Well, so yeah, he did watch, and thank you. This is even makes his thoughts even more credible for sure. So he wrote, since it was nearly 3/4 of the way into the video, talking about your mistakes as a business owner, expecting more from yourself than you're capable of, which is absolutely fine, not a jab. Totally. There's a whole nother discussion about, yeah, how could I have prepared better? And I could have. Um, and that's a point well taken, David. Is a good reason for why starting a business was a bad idea. Absolutely. But I shouldn't. But I shouldn't done this. I shouldn't have done this instead. I should have done that. Ignores the simple fact that there was in no way in hell you would have inserted your money in Amazon at that point in time. Agreed. Without being able to see the future. Agreed. Which is really what this exercise was like. Is hindsight being 2020. And it's kind of fun to think, see, this motivates me going forward that the opportunities that lie before us today are right in front of us. I think through proper research, proper preparation, proper decision making, we have opportunity today to do just that. What opportunity I had back in 1997 and missed it. They're still out there, and I hope that gives all of us hope uh, that, hey, we've got a chance today. You had investment money, not gambling money. Thank you. That's absolutely true. And I went into that wholeheartedly and with a full knowledge that this was an investment. And I even had the thought if I lost it all, it wasn't that much really. And I'd have time to recover, which I have and I did. So the alternatives would never have been an alternative anyway without a time machine. So yeah. Again, really appreciate that kind of commentary, and it also helped push me to say I'm doing my next video because I had another one planned for yesterday and today on this because I felt I think it's worth taking a little more time to address what was that? It was it to taking a little bit more time discussing this topic that I breached in my previous video on the worst investment of my lifetime. Now, with that said, I want to bring home the thought, the belief now, and the plan for the future is to really invest in what time I have left in investment vehicles, so to speak, which I think YouTube is an investment vehicle, versus starting a business like a restaurant, which I have done. And build a future via or while working something that's a steady income producing job. I mean, let's accept the facts that businesses have an extremely high failure rate. They require an extremely inordinate amount of time commitment, and they're risky. I recall reading or listening to someone doing advising just that. It's much stronger to just buy a business via the stocks versus starting a business and putting all that risk on your own shoulders. Even though there's people that do it, but for guys like me, I do believe, and my biggest financial returns in my past have been putting my money in established, well-led businesses via stocks. And the key there is long term. So I want to thank the audience out there who are liking my videos, who are commenting on my videos, who are providing commentary like David. I hope he sees this video. And I do appreciate that. And I appreciate the time y'all take and engage and point these things out. It makes it worthwhile. Well, boomers, that's going to be it, guys, gals. I hope I'll end with this. Let me wrap up with a reminder. I'm going to be getting and relaunching that newsletter. What's up, Boomer? If you prefer a weekly or bi-weekly, kind of a wrap up of just some interesting links that I found, interesting videos, interesting podcasts, and it'll be a quick read. And you can, so I'll put a link in for subscription. It's free. And again, it'll just give you something also to, I will also be maybe sharing a little bit of the YouTube journey, of my YouTube journey, what I'm finding, how things are progressing or not progressing, and my thoughts on that. Baby girl, look at here. Did you want to say goodbye? That's right. Remember how to end your YouTube channel. Later.